Most of the conversation about carbon today is about fossil fuel emissions. And most of the energy of environmentalists, in the climate movement especially, is to find ways to reduce carbon emissions. What has been left out of the conversation to a large extent, not entirely, is the role of forests and wetlands and soil in sequestering carbon, taking carbon out of the atmosphere and restoring a healthy carbon cycle where whatever carbon is produced, it is reabsorbed again. What I have learned is that the contribution of land use changes to atmospheric carbon is at least as much as the contribution of burning fossil fuels. Exposing soil to oxidation puts tremendous amounts of CO2 into the air. And the ruin of the biological systems prevents that released carbon from being brought back into the soil. When trees and grass and other plants uptake carbon from the air, a lot of it goes underground, taking the form of organic compounds, which means carbon-containing compounds that form soil. And that stay underground could be for a year, could be for a decade, could be for 100 years. Some of them are deeply sequestered in the soil. So they're constantly pulling carbon out of the air and putting it underground. So much so that carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere have been rising slower than would have been expected in models that are based on how much we're emitting. The reason that they increase slower than expected is because the more that there is in the atmosphere, the more the plants take up. Of course, they're not increasing their uptake fast enough to offset emissions. But it points to the capacity for life to maintain atmospheric balance if we're not getting in the way. Unfortunately, we're getting in the way. Today, I think we have something like half of the trees that we had before civilization. Half of the mangrove swamps of Asia have been destroyed. 80% of the seagrass meadows on the New England coast are gone. We have rising emissions, and these organs of Gaia that maintain a healthy carbon cycle have been destroyed. So what are we going to do about it?